Adivasi's struggles. The Jana or tribes are believed to be people of the forest whose habitat is the hill and forest are shaped their economic, social and political attributes. So the word Jana, Jana is refers to the tribe who are the people from the forest, and their habitat are related to the ecosystem, and all their way of living livelihood depends on this forest. The movement from one place to another has more complicated the picture of Adivasi. So if we talk about the Adivasi people, they are the indigenous people as we can term them, and they are mostly living in the people from the forest. So due to the urbanization and due to the factors, what had happened is people have traveled sorry, due to the urbanization and industrialization, what had happened is forests are becoming cut off, being cut off so that the area can be covered. But what is actually happening is people are not able to get a particular area where they can reside. So what happened? They have migrated from one place to another, mostly in search of social and economic stability. Everybody needs to have economic stability because money is one of the factor that helps the smooth regulation of the family, so or a community. So it is very much required by the everybody, not even just the higher caste, the lower caste, the Adivasi, the other OBCs. It's not like that. It's a necessity of everyone. So this Adivasi people, they try to come up with some of the factors and they go for um, migration so that they can have a good areas where they can have a livelihood, they can earn their livelihood. This third point all gives you a very good picture about it. For the from the district they migrate to the plantation. Okay, so from the district they move to the plantation. It directly says it's moved to the ecosystem area where they can find a forest. They can find ecosystem where they can depend on, mainly for the farmers, also for farming also they can depend. Then mines are there. So for livelihood, earning, for the economic and social stability, they go for mining, coal mining or iron mining or any type of mining are there, then they go. If you can see the Bokaro, the steel city, you have the so many people where they are working in the mines. Then there are some coal mines also in West Bengal, and also the people are going in that also. Then factories are everywhere in country. So most of the Adivasi have for earning and all, because the forest area is becoming less, so they are trying and going. They are trying for the livelihood survival. They are joining the factories and other place of employment. So there are other places also, like they work in the houses, in the bungalows for their earning. They take care of they becomes a babysitter. They become the drivers, or they nowadays Uber driving is a lot of thing that is going on. Then school bus driving, then peons and all are there. Then there are other than that also there are so many other stabilities. For stability though they come up. Then the most Adivasi statehood are in Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. So if we talk about the Indian scenario, Adivasi are mostly found in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Jharkhand was um, part of Bihar, but these people, they try to have another state so that they can have their own security. So now we have a new state, that is Jharkhand, and people are living there. Then there is struggle for women's equality and rights. We have already had a lot of talk about what a woman is going on struggling, and what are their issues related to the women that they are facing. If you talk about some asset, every dimension in the family is where the woman is oppressed or woman has to fight for her right. If you talk about a baby girl, being a baby girl is not enough. So what they does, mostly they kill most of the people in um, our scenario. They mostly kill their own children, like if it is a girl. So she is struggling for survival from the since she is in the womb. Then comes up as a baby girl, she has to be getting a very protective, she has to get a very care from the family and all, as she is strong and all, but still people has to go on to see whether she doesn't have bad impact of others on her. Then when she becomes a adult, when she comes in the teenage, then there are so much biological changes and all. She has to struggle for that also, as being first they get so many biological changes, and it becomes a struggle for her when she comes into adulthood, for jobs, family stress, family potential, family responsibilities are there, and moreover family respect has to be carried out mostly by the girls. I'm not saying boys are not there, they are also there, but mostly if you see, the girls are being pointed out like, तुमने मेरे खानदान की इज्जत घटा दी, you are the nose of my house, you keep up my nose, I will keep up your wills and all. So it's like that. After she get married or after she studies also, everybody depends on her, everything, even she is sick also she can't take sick leave. Then there are so many, when she is still trying to acknowledge her uh, womanhood, that the very point she get a baby and she enters her motherhood, and again the same process, taking so much risk and caring and all. So it's not like what a woman, I'm not trying to tell that woman is a sufferer, but there are so many struggles that comes up. If you have seen a lot of if you see on Mother's Day, you will find a lot of people, they try to post some pictures, they try to acknowledge their mothers, they try to um, um, tell the struggles of the women, of their mothers or wives or their sisters, like how, or their daughters, how they have come up and how they are flying in the rainbow colors and all. So it's not very easy for a woman to have a equal accessibility as the other gender in the society. It's not only the oppression, it oppresses that happens in the society, but there are some biological wills that also tries to make a woman lesser as compared to the male. If you see the first point here, there are no biological reason that can explain why women are found not in position as men. So, if you talk about the male's power and strength, there are so many things which are happening. Uh, like you can't say a woman that she cannot lift around this much of kgs of weight. If you see in Olympics, there are so many women who have who have won medals for sports and all, for weightlifting and all. Then second thing, if you see, women will do all the house course. She is there from 4 a.m. in the morning till 11 a.m. 11 p.m. at the night. She is working there and she is not getting any pay there. It's if you see a mother, she is after the child a whole day, caring the baby, looking after her, so making them do their homework, making them study, making them uh, good looks, taking them bath, and there are so many course of work that is done by a woman. So if a person is said like, okay, the male is the breadwinner now in 21st century, I can say uh, our life is like a train. We can't our life is like a railway tracks. So we can't say like the male is the only breadwinner. There are women, the second partner, female partner is also working and trying to equilibrate the situation in the family. Okay, so they are trying to give hand in financial and household work. So that's why most of the families that we found in the cities are equalitarian family, where an nuclear family, where the people are sharing equal uh, position in the family. So we can't say like male are the higher uh, position as from women. Why? There are so many reasons. If you see, you can illustrate so many reasons. If a woman is biological unfit to be head of the family, then there is an Nayars of and then why in Nayars of Kerala and Meghalaya still are working today. So if you talk about the family's tradition, like a woman cannot be called as a woman since she gave a birth to a baby, she gives the name of the family. There are Khasi, this group, Khasi tribe in India, they are from Meghalaya. They give their baby's name with the mother as a title of the mother's title. Why the reason is there, nobody knows. But so in some area they have told like biologically a woman can be a head of the family. She can take a responsibility. If you talk about the Switzerland, um, most of the governing officers are women. As it was told, like there is a story like in Second World War all the males were sent to the war and everybody died. Most of the males were there and were died. So most of the women, what they did, they came up and they said, okay, we have to take care of the country, and they started to work. And now that same tradition is there. I think in Switzerland only if a woman breaks the rule and a male and a one male is done the same uh, violation of the rules, both in both cases what happens, the female has to pay more because uh, they have made rule like that women are equal to male. Most of them are saying like women are not a good drivers. There are so many pilot women who are there who are pilots and they flew the planes. So if roads are not meant for them, they are meant for the skies. And if you see in most of the factory, women are the key laborers that are working there for decoration, for piling up, for um, stitching, for finishing look and all, for packaging, for different things. Most of them are, if we say girls are not good at maths, in that also um, women are getting they are becoming the bankers. I think SBI chairman is a woman. So these are the factors that has. If you see the struggles behind these women, you will find a lot of uh, like inequality that has been happened to them. So now the society has become little much aware about the women's power and women's knowledge and their potential. So they have made some reservations in the society, like and now the scenario has changed from earlier situation, and women are getting reservation and quotas for their own development and development of the society. So before if you talk about the history, we see that there were so many inequalities like anti-sati. If the male is died, the woman has to die alive with the burn alive with the dead body of her husband. Then girls' education was not given. Widow remarriage was not there because women were when they become widow, they were executed from the society and thrown out of the society. They live in a uh, very different and unwanted areas were carried out by male as the women were not asked allowed to speak and stand for themselves. So that time also there were so many problems that women were not allowed to speak for themselves. If they stand also, either they were killed or they were beaten so hard so that they cannot get up from the bed and all. So they were tortured so that they cannot stand for themselves. But now scenario has changed. There are some quotas. There are quotas for elections, there are quotas for reservations, there are quotas for everything. If you see an exam, if you see an interview, if you see a higher post, everywhere you will find at least 33% of um, a quota or reservation for the women. Is what brings a desirable change in three major factors. That is, first one is knowledge, that is things we know, whatever the existing knowledge that we have, and how this existing knowledge can be modified, or how much it is uh, possible to improve the uh, current situation, and how the ancient, or we can say the previous knowledge, is going to improve the particular situation going on. Then the second part is attitude. Attitude is things we felt, like whatever the situation we are in, we sometimes forget to and analyze that we can have a solution out of it. But when we have this education, we can have a diversity of knowledge, how to and ways how to come out of that particular situation. Then skills, things done, that is like whatever the way we handle the situation, and how we come up with a proper solution of that a particular situation, is going to be very much helpful to the people. Okay, so all these things, at knowledge, attitude, and skill, should be there in a human behavior, and that is what the education does. It changes overall, it changes the human behavior. If a person who is illiterate, he may have a very basic way of traditional way of, or a, we can say, traditional way of understanding the situation. But when we are talking about the fact that how that traditional situation, traditional knowledge is going to affect the present situation, that is what education brings into the person. Okay, so we cannot say that education is a part and extension is the another part. The education is the integral, means it is there, almost present in every extension thing, whether it is extension of agriculture, whether it is extension of any medical area, whether this is education of any um, anything. You can take any of the fields of education, and the basics concept of extension is education. Okay, so we cannot say like education and extension are totally different things, two different parts. So we have to always keep in mind that education is the basic concept of extension. If there is no education, we can't carry out the extension. Okay, so extension means that type of education which is stretched out to the people in the rural area or beyond the limits of the educational institute to which the formal types of education is normally confined. So it's we can say that we are in extension. What we are actually doing is we are educating the people in the rural area who are not able to access to the institute structural institutions, or we can say educational institution like school, colleges, or universities, or institutions, or any training program, training institutes and all. So It is a formal type of education that we are providing to the people going into the village and providing the knowledge to them. Then, what is the type of education that we are having? The first one is informal education. Informal education is like a type of a long life process by which every person acquires a knowledge, skills, attitude, and insight from a daily experience. So, informal education is directly related to the daily experience that we does. Like um, we, it is said, it's a very famous saying from our ancestors that. Old people or grandparents that whatever you learn is not all the bookish language. So here daily experience also gives a very different frame as we see in the book, like don't say lie. It's a very basic thing that we learn in the book, but sometime in real life it's good that we are not lying to something, but situation arises when we have to lie, but we have to manipulate in such a way that the person doesn't get affected by the lie that we are saying. So same thing is what our daily experience is teaching us and what we are learning in a formal education or in the book is knowledge. So it's exposure of everyday thing. It is environment, whatever environment we are getting at home, whatever environment we are getting at work, wherever we are employed, and at place here is particularly is like we are going outside to meet the people, this community we are attending, the functions we are attending, so we learn from them also. Okay, so this is the what all about informal education. What is non-formal education? So the second part is about non-formal education. So non-formal education is carried outside the institution. Institution here is a proper structure or a building in which people comes from outside, they pay for the education they get, and then they work on upon the projects or something that is given or according to the requirement of the curriculum or the syllabus. But non-formal education is whatever we are learning, we have to stretch that thing out, that knowledge out to the farmers. So mainly it is known as a adult education that we have heard about. So many non-formal education that goes on, mainly like night schools that goes on, or some like street education, then evening schools, and also adult education is there, vocational trainings are there, vocational educations are there for the people. Then extension education is there, like we are just on a particular topic we are going to the people and teaching them and giving them our experience of what we have felt and what they do and how they are going to comprise both of the thing together and come up with the solutions. And also we directly if we in our daily life we want to understand what is non-formal education, it is directly as a adult education. Okay, so adult education, like they do, most of the adults are what we categorize as adult is from more than 20 to like 40 or 50 years. So these people maybe they don't have to they didn't have any primary school or secondary schools. They don't know how to write their names and even read and write the basic things. So adult education here is main concept of what we call as non-formal education, because the people they go, they teach by voluntary, and they at least make them aware of whatever the things are going on. Okay, so then the third part is formal education that we are in. We have to follow a particular protocol. We have to have a rule books. We have a particular syllabus. We have some authorization, accreditations, and also that gives um, that is what makes a formal education. And there is a particular building in which we have to pay money and we have to come and educate ourselves. We get degrees that satisfy certify us that we are educated in a particular field or particular thing. Okay, then we will move on to second part of this basic subject, that is extension education. So here extension is derived from a Latin word which means ex. Ex means out, and tensio means stretching. So it is a stretching out education that we provide to the people. So this term was first originated in US in 1914, and which means a branch of a university for students who cannot attend the university properly. Okay, so it's directly we can say like it is outstretched, it is not in the formal education format. Okay, it is outside the formal education format. Okay, so we can also say that in other words, extension signifies an out of a school system of education. Okay, so as I have already told, like education is a integral part of extension. It is a basic concept of education, and extension means that um, there shouldn't be any uh, it is not performed in a formal institute. So where it is actually performed, so extension is performed among the rural areas, in the rural families of in the rural areas with the rural people, so that we can understand like whatever they are lacking behind, we can improve that thing. Okay, so like different scientists, different uh, theologists have told different they came up with a different concept of what extension education is. So like Paul has already is saying that it is derived from a physical, biological and social science, and it is and in its own process synthesized into a body of knowledge, concept, principle and procedure. So here it's they always says that extension is not applying to only a particular field of science or a particular field of um, what we can say, uh, engineering or something. It's a basic social science. Social science is about what the society thinks and how the signs that we see in the society. So it's a physical what here means is like when we interact with the people, what our behavior is, how we have to change the behavior, how we have to there is a difference between educated person behavior and a uneducated person behavior, or the old people, the young generation. So it's a physically way, means like our bodily how we are interacting with the people. Then biologically it depends on the first we can, if we whatever the thing which comes in our mind is male and female, old and new. Okay, so and then the environment and the people. Okay, then social science, it's about studying about the community, family, person, individuals, marriage, everything. So extension education is studying everything which is present in the society. Okay, and then when it comes up with the second thing is then it process all these things to a body of a knowledge. Okay, so how to be why not how why it need to be processed is like it will start with a understanding of the thing, like this should be the standard. Why? Because they have seen that this process, this particular behavior is very good, and it is very soothing to the eyes. Mentally satisfaction is there, physically satisfaction is there, then there is environmental satisfaction is there. There are so many concepts that consist around a person's a human life. So that is what this extension education does, is like they will grab all the things and then they will formulate it into a knowledge, like a standard knowledge, like this is the fact, this is the framework in which everything will be fine. Then concept is like making a particular way, like this is happening, that's why this is happening. If it is not there, then this won't happen. So these are the pros and cons, we can say. Then principles are the main focus, like it cannot be changed. So this is the principle. If you will, for a happy life, you need to understand your family. Okay, so that is what a principle is. And then procedure, how to be happy, that is a procedure. So this is what the things is going. If we I relate to the agriculture as like understanding the plant things, understanding how farmers is related to the crop production and everything, then market, then distribution, production, buying, selling, everything should be there. So uh, if we convert that all process into a knowledge, is like we will try to incorporate everything into a particular way, and then we will say to it like um, uh, knowledge about how to do cropping so that we can get good yield, what to apply as a fertilizer so that no pesticide or insecticide can affect the crops. Okay, so we have a team of science people that will come together, and they come up with some outcomes. They come up with the solution that are very much effective to the farmers and the crop and the agriculture. Okay, so it is a non-credit thing, so we don't pay for it. It's a free of cost, and people voluntary comes and make themselves avail to us so that we can disseminate our knowledge to them. Okay, so then another scientist said like it's a agricultural development. Okay, so whatever the extension is there, we have to mainly focus in agriculture, especially it mainly focus is the agriculture develop, because 80% of today's also in India, the farmers are there. They depend they depends only on the agriculture sector. So it's we have to have a programs in extension education that are going to develop the agriculture things. And then we have the rural welfare. Rural welfare is how the rural life is there, what they eat, how they live, what are their felt needs, how the solution can be done, and all. Okay, then now what is the scope? One more point I forgot to tell you. It's also studying the livelihood that I have. Welfare consists of the livelihood, the close relation they have, the communities, the families they have around them, and how these are interrelated to each other. Okay, then we come to the scopes of extension education. What is the exactly the scope of extension education? Like some scientists have said like it's create awareness among the people and changes their behavior by informing and educating them. So like I have already told that the education is the integral part, so the main focus is about educating people. So creating awareness about whatever the situation is and how you can come up with the solution and how we can improve the life of them, and then changing their behavior by coming up of the solution and how the people adopt and they change their life. And then information informing them means like um, informing about the procedures, the techniques. Okay, then there are some scopes that are efficiency in agricultural production. First one is that it's extension agricultural production here is about the production of the crops, the farming system and all, and how we can through the different techniques that are founded in the formal education way, we can come up with some of the programs, and then we can educate how to produce the good farming or good crops. Then marketing, distribution and utilization, how these crops which are grown and then processed, how these processed food or some the production is going to be marketed, how it is going to be distributed, and how these distributed things can be utilized. It is about the conservation, development and use of natural resource. So whatever the crops we are growing, it is naturally, we put effort, but 90% of the effort is about the natural nature, how it produce, whether the crop is going and the seeds are going to germinate or not. So it's a conservation, like if we will plant we do agriculture, then we conserve soil, we conserve water, we maintain the fertility of the soil and all. Then management on the farm and in house, like we have so many different factors that are affecting the management at farms. Means like in how much area, how much crop, or how much tons of or quintals of seeds should be sown so that it produce a good yield, and how this good yield is going to affect the family or the house. Then family living, If we have a good production, we will have a good life. Living means like our family will be developed with this. They will have enough food or enough source of income so that they can have a better life. Then youth development is here. All the youths will be involved when and they will, by learning, they when they will be involved in farming, they will know that this is lacking behind, and they can come up with different techniques to improve that particular problem. Okay. And then that is indirectly developing a youth mindset of about what is agriculture. Then taking leadership development is like, if we have something new, automatically people will try to understand us, and they will try to um, come up, tell us like, we also want to understand this. And then that is the power of what leader person comes out, leadership quality comes out, that you are going to take leadership, you are going to take initiative to educate them. This process is done by this, and this will lead to this. Okay. Then community development, obviously if youth is developed, the family is developed, the farmers are developed, then definitely the community will be indirectly or directly, it will be developed. Okay. And that will help the development of the rural areas also. Then public affairs is here is means about the they will be more interacted to the outside world, what is going on outside, and what is the situation. Like recently, from last year, we are facing the farmers revolt about the three farm laws that is going on. And it is why the people are aware, because they are so much developed that they understand like this is our basic need. And if we are paying, and if we are paying for whatever we are growing, then it doesn't mean we they are going to be benefited. So they see, they have watched about the situation, like there is no benefit for them, their family will be very much lag behind, so they are protesting. So this is what public affairs is like. Politics and the people are going to interact directly and make a different scenario. Then another part is like extension is a integral part of agriculture and rural development program in India. So, like I have already told, like in India, 80% of people are under farming sector, and still they are working hard to produce good yield so that they can get a good livelihood. But still, there are so many pros and cons that are coming out. So we like, what type of agriculture develop and rural development programs are there? There are fisheries, animal husbandries, there are forestries, sericulture is there, so which are um, uh, giving which are promoting them to get more yield of what regularly they grow crops, and the process they follow in agriculture. So further we can say there are another set of scopes that comes out from this point, like extension is an integral part of agriculture. So first one is it motivates people through a proper way, proper approach, like for example, like if the person is only dependent on the dairy, or only dependent on the like sericulture or bee culture, so how they can be educated more to produce more. Okay. So more streams will come out, more studies will come out to enhance the production of that thing. Then it help to educate people, all the village people. It's not like this percent of the village people are not educated and they are facing so many problems. So village people are educated by them, so they, if there is some any problems, they can handle by themselves. Then there will be a desirable change in all the three aspects of life of a person. That is, first one is knowledge, attitude, and skills. Then it helps the people to help themselves. It not like in formal education, what happens, we have the knowledge, we disseminate that knowledge to the students, and then the students will come out, or they will learn that same knowledge, and maybe they will modify a little bit out of whatever they know. But as for the, if extension, we talk about the extension education, we go to the farmers, we tell the people like, this is the way and this is the process by which we are going to help you. And it's not just we are helping you or giving you education, but how this education is going to help, that is your thing. You have to implement that thing, see whether there is problem with it, whether you want to apply that particular methods or not. So it's directly as helping people to help themselves. We're not going to go inside that person's mind and tell, okay, this one is the best. They will implement, they will see, and then they will educate themselves through doing. Then always it is working with women. It's not solely on the crops or on the thing, it's also a social science. So social science is related to people living in the society, so it consists of men, women, children, boy, girl, everything, and their felt need, whatever the needs are there. Like for the men and women, maybe for the men, they are working whole day in the farm. For the women, they are working whole day in the household, but they are not gaining anything. For a farmer, he is gaining, he is growing crops and he can sell out and he can get money. But for what about the women? What about the female part of the society? What they are doing in the rural areas? So it helps in some of the schemes, like self-help groups are there, cottage industries are there, which help them to improve themselves, and they can also earn money to support the family. Then it's not about whatever we know and we tell and we implement, we forcefully tell them to implement. It's a demonstrative thing, means they will demonstrate it, then they will adopt it. So it's both the way. Learning by doing means, if first they will see, okay, I am doing this thing and this is output is good, so they will do and see whether reality on real grounds it's um, working or not. It's not always about the rumors, it's always about the practical world. Then it never emphasize on the institutional culture, it always work with the rural culture, like how the rural family is working, how they are going to help the people. Okay, how they what are their culture and how they are going to be adopting that culture. Then we have it's never a one way challenge, like it's not a top down model. It's not just one person is speaking and it is implemented, no returns are given, no feedbacks are given. No, it's not like that. Always the feedback is given to the people's first the solutions are given, then the people will implement, and then they will come up with some of the feedbacks, whether it is working or not working, or where there is gaps, and then they will improve. Then it's all about working together to expand the welfare and happiness of the people with their own families and own village, own country, and the world. So we say, like, we animal sorry human is a social animal, so we cannot say that it only resides or exists alone. So it is always in the group, whether in a form of family, in the form of their own village, country, and uh, world. So it's a welfare of all the components that is situated with human life. Then extension is the development of individual. So it's if I am, as an individual, if I am developed, then only I can develop others, so that the people will understand, like, why the development is important, why we need to change from the existing way of living to the new path. So this is the, I guess, think commercially what we are doing, and how we are converting the traditional into commercial. That is also a very good thing in this. Then what actually extension does is it understand the condition of the rural people, farmer people, and then improves that particular things if they are facing problem, or if they are having some doubts in that. And also mainly for the production, good production, so that they can have a good livelihood. So it also it filled up the gap between what is the actual situation and what ought to be the desirable situation. Okay, so like I have said, like in formal education we get a particular procedure or a particular principle on which we work, but on ground it is very, sometimes it is totally different on whatever we have learned in the formal education. So extension education teaches us what the theoretical and what is the difference between the theoretical and the practical knowledge. Okay, so and then it also uh, filled up the gaps between the technology and the traditional knowledge, and then it come together and formulate a particular behavior that help that particular situation or particular approach that will um, improve the behavior of the people to adopt the new technologies. Like before, we used to have this grinding machine that women used to sing, and they used to make flour out of the beats. But nowadays we have machines that are working uh, to lessen the burden of the woman, plus the lesson, and it will work fast and it will be producing more, so that the people can be uh, avoided from the toiling work of whatever they are doing. So this is what the technology is doing. Then another is like threshing, harvesting machines are there. So these are all are technology and science that is helping the farmers to improve their livelihood and improve their family condition, getting the knowledge, improving their crop production and all. So another scientist, he came up and he said like extension education is not as like we are understanding the problem of the people, but there are some of the gaps that are also um, lacking behind the interaction between the people and the researchers. Like first he said like most of the research people, they are not getting time, and the equipments are not that much that they will go to for every individual in the rural area and they will ask them to give the feedback, so they don't have that much time. And even the farmers are also not that much with the time, free in time, and it is very difficult for them to go to the nearby tech training centers to attain the first hand information, like how to do farming, how to do mushroom cultivation, how to go for fisheries, where veterinaries, animal husbandries and all, because for them it is a very basic thing and we have to keep it, that is the thing they have. So it's very difficult for them to invest that much time for that thing, because they are not educated first of all, second they are not aware that these types of um, programs are going on which are going to affect them. Then uh, to fill there is a gap between the researcher and the rural people, so rural life. So this extension agencies, they come up like NGOs are there that are working with the people, and they come up to like close this gap of research and the people, and these are called as extension agencies, and extension workers are the employees here which help them to give the knowledge whatever they have understood. So this is all for today. So I have a relevant questions out of it. They are, first one is what does the EX in the extension stand for? It's about inward education, it's beyond education, out education, or anything. Then we have this what does tenuous word mean for that? Then how many types of educations are there? These are the questions that are given, and these are the questions on scopes, that how to understand people what they have learned till so far. Thank you. This topic is over now.